It is a fantastic time to be a Warhammer 40k fan as a new animated series is in development at Amazon and Henry Cavill is producing it. This new animated series is being developed by Amazon MGM Studios, Blur Studios, and Games Workshop, and it's being developed alongside the live-action Warhammer 40k series that Henry Cavill is set to star in. The show is going to be a spin-off of the Warhammer 40k episode that debuted in Secret Level back in 2024. We don't have any details regarding the actual plot of the show, but we do know that it's going to feature the Death Watch, an elite group of space marines that specialize in hunting down alien threats. Now that you're caught up on the news, let's talk about the implications of this and what this show could actually be about. Personally, I'm really excited that Blur Studios is on board to work this because they're the guys who were behind the original Secret Level Warhammer 40k episode, and they also made the older Elder Scrolls Online cinematics as well, which are all awesome. And knowing that Henry Cavill is going to be producing this gives me a massive boost of confidence in this series because we already know that it's going to have fantastic animation. We also know that the story is going to be absolutely solid because Henry does his homework. He reads Warhammer 40k books, he reads the codexes, he's very familiar with Warhammer 40k in general, he plays it, he plays the video games, he is completely immersed in this hobby. And for those of you who don't know, Secret Level is getting a second season, but it's not going to have a Warhammer 40k episode featured in it. It's actually going to have an Age of Sigmar episode featured in it. But between the Warhammer 40k animated series being announced and the imminent release of Astartes 2, as I said at the beginning of the video, it is an exciting time to be a Warhammer 40k fan. What I would actually prefer would be that the live action show doesn't really show much Space Marine on Space Marine action, specifically because from what I've seen of Amazon MGM Studios and their work with the Fallout series, I don't really have much confidence in how they're able to portray people in power armor. Now, I would wager to say that Games Workshop has higher standards of quality control than a studio like Bethesda does when it comes to how these things are portrayed, especially considering that Bethesda or ZeniMax don't actually own Fallout. Microsoft owns Fallout, and so at the end of the day, the mega corporation is going to have the final say in what is okay and what isn't okay for a TV show portrayal of the Fallout universe. Now, I do have a bit more confidence in Games Workshop's ability to make sure that the movement of Space Marines in power armor seems a bit more natural and fluid, specifically because their process with the video game development studios that they license their IP out to is very strict. If your company is working with the Warhammer IP, then you have a Games Workshop representative that you are checking in with every single week so that they can perform a quality control on everything that you're developing. But even with all that being said, I would still prefer that all of the Space Marine on Space Marine action be kept to the animated series. I'm not 100% on board with many of the shows that Amazon has created because they've taken a lot of very big IPs and just dropped the ball completely. I don't really have much confidence in Amazon being able to portray a massive war like the Horus Heresy because of how they treated Middle-earth and the Lord of the Rings with the Rings of Power show. So again, whenever it comes to high action, high octane, and big battles, I would rather that stay animated. I would prefer that the live action story be based around a much more grounded character like Gregor Eisenhorn or any other Inquisitor. You could still have Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines appear, but they wouldn't be the focus of the story. We'll see what Amazon and Blur Studios and Games Workshop is able to come up with for both this animated series and the live action series. Just having Henry Cavill on board to produce things or to star in the live action series gives me a lot of confidence in both of these shows. But at the end of the day, this is still Amazon that we're talking about. But with all that being said, let's talk about the animated series itself. What exactly could this show be about? considering that it's going to be a spin-off of the Warhammer 40k secret level episode. Now, if you haven't seen it, then do yourself a favor and watch it over on Amazon. Its quality is as high or higher than anything that you'll find on Warhammer Plus. And it goes without saying that from this point onwards in the video, we're going to be talking about spoilers from that episode. So if you haven't seen it, then now is the time to tune out. If you don't care, then keep watching. The general summary of the Warhammer 40k secret level episode is that Lieutenant Titus, along with Sergeant Mataris, head over to a planet to conduct what is effectively a suicide mission. Miraculously, both Titus and Mataris survive, and it has a lot to do with the fact that Titus is just special. There are a lot of theories of what Titus can and can't be, but my favorite is that Titus is effectively a saint, and he has a direct connection to the Emperor himself. Another thing that we know is that Titus does eventually get promoted to be the captain of the Second Company and the warden of Ultramar. Additionally, when Space Marine 3, the sequel to Space Marine 2, was revealed, it was revealed with Titus on the cover. So it goes without saying that the likelihood of Titus being put back into the Death Watch or given back to the Death Watch to serve another sentence of penance is very low. Now, what about Sergeant Mataris? It's not completely out of the realm of possibility that because he survived this suicide mission where they were effectively expected to be killed by a demon, that he came under suspicion from the Inquisition or his company's chaplain. But I think that this is also unlikely because Sergeant Mataris actually appears alongside Titus's model on the tabletop. So if Titus and Mataris aren't going to be the main characters of this new show, then what exactly did Variety.com mean when it reported that this show was going to be a spin-off of the Warhammer 40k secret level episode? I think that the lead developers of the show, Dave Wilson and John Orloff, are seeking to make a Deathwatch show with a very similar premise to what was shown on Secret Level, where a squad of Deathwatch Space Marines goes into a mission that they're likely not supposed to come back from, a suicide squad, if you will. And for those of you who watched that secret level episode, although the animation was top-notch, I think what we missed was interaction between the characters themselves. They didn't really talk to one another. In that secret level episode, the only dialogue that we get is delivered in the form of a monologue by Sergeant Mataris, and it's effectively just a monologue about Titus and his backstory. A show following the Death Watch would be very interesting because the Death Watch pulls from a variety of different, or if not even every single Space Marine chapter. And Space Marines from other chapters other than Ultramarines act very differently when compared to the Ultramarines. And this would be an extremely interesting thing to show to the casual viewer because all they've been exposed to so far is how the Ultramarines act and portray themselves. It would be amazing to see a story in which a Death Watch kill team of Space Marines gets sent into a nearly impossible situation, and the squad features a Space Wolf, a Blood Angel, and a whole assortment of different Space Marine chapters. And the Space Wolf is being rude and boisterous the entire time while they're supposed to be quiet, while the Blood Angel has a moment where he completely breaks and enters the Black Rage and starts to go crazy on some Chaos Worshippers or Chaos Space Marines in a very climactic scene. These are the things that you just don't get with Ultramarines, and these are the things that I'm expecting that the show's creators would capitalize on when implementing Space Marines from other chapters. We'll see what they're able to throw together, but like I said before, and probably for the third and final time, I've got a lot of confidence in this animated series since Henry Cavill is producing it. Guys, let me know what you think about this news in the comments below. Don't forget to like and hype the video and subscribe to the channel if you love Warhammer 40k. As always, this has been Jefficus. I appreciate your viewership. The Emperor protects.